It's an everyday thing, it's an everyday thing, it's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang. Today, we have learned that the Amish, the Amish are, they have no autism. But to back up those claims, we do have doctors and we do have other Amish people to explain. So, without further ado, let's get to it, man. I'm not about to hold y'all.
By the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. That have no autism. Does that tell you something? That's currently, is that a correct statement, by the way?
There are some studies that suggest that, yeah, with the Amish, for example.
The Amish, yeah, virtually. I heard none. See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups. The Amish, as an example, they have essentially no autism. And by the way, I think...
And listen, man, I'm not about to dispute what he says, because if he says it, it could be true. But I do think that by him saying Bobby, aka Robert Kennedy, wants to be careful what he says, and then he goes on to say that he doesn't have to be careful. I think that's a little reckless. And I want to caution people with the claims that they put out, because, again, like I said, the acetaminophen, I'm just like Trump. We can't sound it out. Whatever it is, y'all know what we're talking about. But Tylenol, who is owned by, what is it, Kenvu or something, Kenfifi or whatever, whoever, Kennevu. I believe some lawsuits are coming. Their stock plummeted based on the claims that Tylenol causes autism. Now, this was a big topic today on, is this true or not? And there haven't been any claims to say if this is a fact or if studies show. But like I said, I think there should be more studies into whatever they're talking about, because that's the reason why we're here, and the reason why we want to figure these things out is because we want to continue the studies. Like, if it's not that, let's try it out, figure it out. Like, do the studies. But again, when women are pregnant, Tylenol is the only medicine that they can take. Am I correct or am I lying? Because I don't think they can just take cough medicine or anything. Like, just take some Tylenol. Everything. It's just like when we was kids growing up, we didn't have nothing but Robitussin in the house. Like, it didn't matter what we had. If we had a headache, take some of this Tussin. Take some of this Tussin, baby. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's gonna be some a lot of lawsuits or things to hush that up. They're gonna be hushing that up real soon. Okay, I guarantee you that they're gonna be hushing that up, because that's really damaging to the Johnson & Johnson brand. Of course, Johnson & Johnson have taken a lot of hits over the years, a lot of hits over a bunch of different stuff. You know what I mean? A lot of hits.
So why do Amish communities not have autism in their population? And this is a very good question, and the short answer is that they do. But you're right, that in the general population, autism is about 1 in 44, and in the Amish population, it is less than that. So let's get into it. Why? So one of the main reasons is something called the founder effect. And so when you have a larger, diverse population, and then just a few people spread out and make their own little sub-mini populations, you can get what's called the founder effect, where these new little subpopulations are less diverse. And that is what has happened with the Amish. Because of centuries of endogamy, where they're marrying within their own religious sect, there is a decrease in the amount of genetic variation that is occurring in that population. And this has actually increased their prevalence of lots of neurodevelopmental disorders, metabolic disorders, skeletal dysplasias, heart defects, Cohen syndrome, all kinds of things. Maple syrup urine disease. So we know that autism is linked to certain genetic variants. So in a more diverse population, you're going to see more of those genetic variants, whereas in an Amish population where they're more isolated, there may be less of those genetic variants linked to autism. However, Amish people still have autism. And within any population over time, there is going to be some genetic drift where spontaneous genetic mutations are going to occur. In a bigger population, it's not going to be as noticeable as in a smaller population where those variants are going to become more prominent in the population due to intermarrying within the smaller population. And this guy is Dr. Kevin Strauss. He's an MD, and he works in Pennsylvania at a specialized clinic for Amish and Mennonite populations. And he works at this clinic for special children where he treats and diagnoses a lot of these genetic disorders and gets this population the health care that they deserve. Okay, so what does this have to do with autism? Well, autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder. It's characterized by, issues with social skills, communications, maybe some atypical interests. And culturally, within the Amish population, these may not be considered abnormal or atypical like they are in the mainstream population. So Amish parents may not be seeking out a formal diagnosis of autism. The Amish population is less likely to undergo autism screenings at younger ages or to see a developmental pediatrician. And if the child does not receive a diagnosis, then the prevalence is going to seem lower in that population, if that makes sense. And in case you needed receipts,
well, let's take a look at
and in case you needed receipts.
All right, so you hear this from an actual doctor, the real Dr. Key, Dr. Cerissa Key. Okay, and I just want to let y'all know, like I'm gonna try to give both sides. Okay, but we gotta stick to the facts. When we hear something, we gotta do a little bit of investigation. Somebody said, do your research. I'm not a doctor, but I'm gonna do my research on social media and find actual people who can explain what the hell we just saw yesterday, because we are listening to something that could be prevalent in all lives, that we cannot take any pain relievers because all of them contain the same acetaminophen. Okay, and this, so the real Dr. Key on TikTok, I'm pretty sure she got some more info, but we're gonna continue with the program.
How prevalent is autism and other disorders in the Amish community? When I was there, I never heard the word autism or ADHD, for example, and whether it exists or not, I really don't know. And I've talked to my family about this, and it was like I was speaking a foreign language to them. They never even heard of it either. Now, there are some kids sometimes that have learning disabilities, and with those kids in school, when they have a hard time, they get more one-on-one with a teacher, and sometimes they get help back a grade, but they get a lot of support when they have learning disabilities. And most of the time they make it all the way to 8th grade and they're done with school. And whether that's just a learning disability or ADHD or autism, I really don't know. But I do know that when I talk to the Amish people or my Amish family, they have no clue about it. How prevalent is autism?
There you have it. There you have it, man. There you have it. They don't know because they don't got TV. If you don't got a TV, how do you know? Because this is what has been on the TV every day since the I guess Monday. Sunday, after Trump announced that there was a cure for autism, people started asking questions. Monday, everything, when they dropped the bomb, Tylenol caused this, and then it was like, and the vaccines, and the one people who don't have it is the Amish community. Yeah, then now the Amish people are like, hell, we don't know. I just told y'all they don't know because they don't got no TV. But y'all gonna keep. We're just gonna have to play this out. We're gonna have to play this out. That's what I'm saying.